Amazing Spider-Man issue 800. It is here. What's going to happen to the Red Goblin? What's going to happen to Spider-Man? What's going to happen to Normie Osborn? What's going to happen to Flash? Stay tuned, guys. Hey comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0, and fans, you're back with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to do that all-important comic book review, so you, the fans, can make a decision on what comic books to buy. And today, guys, we're talking about the highly anticipated Amazing Spider-Man issue 800. That's right, fans. This is the conclusion to Going Down Swinging. And this book is an 80-page monster with a price point of $9.99. And I'm here to tell you if this book is worth your hard-earned cash. Now, this book is written by Dan Slott. The artwork done in this particular issue is done by many different artists. And what was cool about this is that it's done throughout Dan Slott's run. That's what I liked about it. And each artist took a chapter in this book, so it made the flow a lot easier. Not like where you have long books and you have an artist that does a page and another artist that does another page, and it doesn't fit. So our artist is Nick Bradshaw, Herberto Ramos, Giuseppe Comacoli, Stuart Immonen, and Marcos Martin. And I must say, throughout the entire book, the art is pretty solid all the way through. So, just to let you guys know that there is spoilers in this review. If you haven't read your beast of an issue, read it first, then come back and watch this review, okay? So, let's talk about this book a little bit, shall we? I can't go through the whole thing because this will probably be an hour video, but we're going to talk about it a little bit. So, through chapter 1, we get to see Spider-Man actually talk to the Spider family, making sure that they're okay. And then we wind up seeing this epic battle begin because Spider-Man made this deal with the Red Goblin that if he shows himself, he's going to have everyone that Peter Parker knows killed. Okay? So as soon as Peter shows himself, that whole thing goes through. We get to see everyone that Peter loves get targeted, whether it was his Spider family, whether it was Mary Jane, whether it was Aunt May, all the other people that he cared about, you get to see them get targeted in this particular book. J. Jonah really holds himself responsible in this issue about what happens because he spilled the beans on Peter's identity. So all the shit has hit the fan because of this. Throughout this particular issue, you wind up getting to see characters that we loved throughout Spider-Man's history, and little nods here and there as well throughout Spider-Man's history too. We get to see one character in here that maybe we have not seen a lot of throughout Dan Slott's run, and that's Mary Jane. And even though she still wasn't in this issue all that much, she kind of was a pretty good badass here. She held herself against Venom. They did a quick little battle because she was mistaken, thinking that Venom was the enemy. You know, I wish there was a little bit more there, but there wasn't, okay? We get to see Aunt May get attacked in this issue by Norman Osborn Jr., as he's a Venom symbiote, and it was funny seeing him attack May because of, like, cookies and stuff like that. It was so funny. We get to see Dr. Octopus, of course. Why not? Because Dr. Octopus was such a major character in Dan Slott's run. I mean, he created Superior Spider-Man, for crying out loud. And look at where Dr. Octopus is now. He's basically a clone of Peter Parker. And we wound up seeing him actually protect Aunt May. And there is certain dialogue in there as well where he's like, woman, I tried to protect you ever since I've met you. The die has cast. You know, there's just certain things in there that you know is Dan Slott's run. and it's very fitting. We get to see certain scenes in here where Spider-Man actually goes back in black. Once again, he wears his symbiotic suit. And Eddie Brock actually gave him permission to wear the suit. So it was cool to see that again as well. Flash was a very good hero in this particular issue as he tries to save everybody that Spider-Man knows. We see J. Jonah continue in this issue to try to help Spider-Man where he tries to help Spider-Man where he can, but it just never works. We actually see him don a Spider Slayer, which plays back to the early issues of Amazing Spider-Man when J. Jonah hired the Spider Slayer, and you see the hologram image of himself. That goes back to original issues of the series, which I thought was really cool as well. In this issue, we get to see all those cool character moments. We get to see how grandfather and grandson try to take over Climax, and that was pretty cool. We get to see Harry Osborn try to get his son back, and you get to see him ride a Goblin glider again, and you haven't seen that back to the days when he was the Green Goblin. We get to see these weird little robots that was in a couple issues ago where the Sandman was controlling them, or the Sandwoman, or whatever it was. We get to see a little throwback as Liz Allen is thrown from the Climax building, you know, almost playing a tribute to when Gwen Stacy died. So there's all kinds of little things in here as a Spider-Man fan that you're going to truly recognize in this book. Of course, you're going to see excellent battle scenes. You're going to see how the tides turn from back and forth between Peter Parker and the Red Goblin, Norman Osborn. But at the end of the day, we see the real hero emerge here, and that is Flash Thompson. And then when you read this issue, you're going to see that he finds out the identity of Peter Parker. And how he finds that out, we'll see. And he dies a true hero. Yes, that's right, fans. Flash Thompson dies. And some of the dialogue in that particular part of the issue is... It really tears me up, you know, because if you're a Spider-Man fan, Flash Thompson is a major player in the series. He really is. You know, he was the one that picked on Peter, and it's just, you know, he calls him Puny Parker, and it's kind of funny. But it's a really touching part in this book, and he dies a true hero in here. And we get to see Peter, he kind of loses it. And, you know, the symbiote becomes rage. It rages on. And in Flash's last words, we wind up seeing that he says, don't, you know, give in to that rage. Because, what's it called? Flash is the one that tried to make him good again. Or Eddie made him good again. So, as that part comes to a close and Flash dies, we see this epic battle in Times Square. And we get to see Norman Osborn finally find out the weakness of Peter Parker Spider-Man, how he cares for all life. And Norman Osborn just goes for all that life and tries to destroy everything around him. And so what happens in this issue is we wind up seeing our characters get stripped of their super powers, right? And just go down to regular Green Goblin and Spider-Man. And they fight, and they battle, and they punch, and they duke it out. But at the end of the day, we wind up seeing our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man prevail over the Green Goblin. And even Spider-Man's worst enemy, he decides to take a bullet for him. Because J. Jonah says, this man is always going to cause problems in our world. He will just be released and cause more problems. And he goes to shoot him, and Spider-Man takes that bullet for him. And it shows the type of hero that Peter is. Even for his worst enemies, he's not going to die, because with great power comes great responsibility. So really touching moment there as well. And so as the issue comes to a close, we see J. Jonah. He runs away in shame because he can't believe that he tried to do something like that. Spider-Man checks on Norman Osborn, and the dude has lost his Cocoa Puffs, man. He is cuckoo, right? I mean, he's crazy. He thinks he's Carnage. All kinds of stuff right now. It's absolutely insane. And so towards one of the end of the chapters, where it's called The Return of Harry Osborn, we have no more Harry Lyman. He now has taken his father's name, and he should not be ashamed of it anymore. They take the symbiotic suit off of Normie Osborn, but we get a little hint that this could not be the last of little Normie Osborn carnage. So we'll see what happens there. And at the final story here, where it's titled Goodbye, we get to see the actual funeral of Flash Thompson here. And some of the dialogue in this issue was very touching for me, when it comes to Peter and Flash, and how Flash really actually looked up to, oh my god, I can't stop crying, how Peter actually looked up to Flash. And it was a really touching moment, probably the most touching part of the actual story. And we get to see actually J. Jonah make amends with Peter, and that's how the main story actually ends. And it was a very touching part of the issue. I'm really gonna miss Flash. I didn't realize how important of a character he was to me until I read this book. So it's really it really meant a lot. So after all the credit scenes, okay, we get or after the actual issue, we get an extra credit scene, and we wind up seeing Dr. Octopus, young Dr. Octopus, actually get a job at Verizon Labs. And I thought that was kind of cool. So if you read that last story, you're going to see that. And he runs into Miss Marconi, and I thought that was really, really, really touching. So, yeah, and that's the issue for me. So, what did I think about this issue? Very good. Me and Mr. Dan Slott haven't agreed to eye to eye for times when it comes to Amazing Spider-Man stories. But, damn, I felt he wrote a pretty damn good issue in this issue, in this final 800 story with Going Down Swinging. Sorry, I can't think because I'm so emotional. It meant a lot to me. And seeing Flash die was very touching. There's the ups, there's the downs, there's the battle, there's the fighting, all those things in there. The only thing that I wished a little bit more for, in my eyes, when it came to this issue, was just Mary Jane. Mary Jane is a crucial part in Spider-Man's life, and he was very little in this run. She was very little in this run, and I just would have loved for her to play a bigger part. But overall, the issue was really good, and I gotta give it a 4.75 out of 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed this final story arc that Dan Slott had to offer. I'm very interested to see what he's going to do for issue 801. And yeah, it's just really good. I just lost for words because I'm so emotional about the Flash thing. I didn't think I was actually going to act like that while doing this video, but it was good. Really a lot of fun. Guys, leave me all those comments in the comment section below what you thought of this Amazing Spider-Man issue number 800. Were you a fan? Were you not a fan? Were you touched like I was with the death of Flash Thompson? What did you think about the final battle of Norman Osborn and Peter Parker? Will Norman Osborn become the Green Goblin once again, or is he permanently broken? Again, leave me all those comments, all those concerns, everything in the comments box below, guys. And as always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next comic book review. Take care, guys, and I'll see you 100 issues from now on Amazing Spider-Man. Bye.